Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Paul Montalongo Show. I have a question for you. How are you at the art of reinventing yourself? Think about these names: Madonna, Jay-Z, Rush Limbaugh, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Justin Bieber. Like the list goes on and on of names of celebrities whom we have been able to witness in the media in certain areas of transformation or reinvention in their lives, either professionally, personally, politically, so on and so forth. And we've been able to witness these. But my question for you is, how are you at the art of transforming or reinventing yourself? I don't believe that we have to have a colossal event, a traumatic event, in order to reinvent ourselves. Although that's what usually happens, isn't it? So because of some fork in the road type event in our life, something traumatic, something really major, it forces us to recreate ourselves, to give ourselves a rebirth, a new life, if you will. But I believe there are certain ways that we can master the art of reinventing ourselves. So here are 4 areas that I want you to think about. Number 1, proactivity. Listen, we're always in this game of rebirth, of reinvention, of recreating ourselves, of finding the next thing that works for us in our life. Yes, sometimes that comes as a result of something monumental in our life, but more often than not, if we're aware and we're proactive, we can be tweaking and turning and twisting and shaping and molding our life to give us the most fulfillment possible. The second area in the art of reinventing ourselves is vulnerability. I don't mind telling you that to the best of my count, I have had about a half dozen monumental crossroads, fork in the road, pivotal events in my life that have absolutely required me to reinvent my life, to check my life, to make sure that I was on track and to totally turn it around to go to a different track. Now, what did that require? I mean, it required vulnerability. It required me being raw, truthful, exposing my faults, my frailties, getting rid of my history, the story that operates in my head about what happened. It requires a great depth of exposure of oneself to the truth in order to reinvent yourself. So when you get real, when you get truthful, when you get bold with yourself, when you have some bravado with yourself, then you're set up perfectly to reinvent yourself. The next area is visionary. So in this reinvention, like where do you want to be? Like what's at the end of the road? Let's say physically you want to reinvent yourself. What size clothes do you want to wear? How much do you want to weigh? What's the body fat on you? Like what do you want to look like? How do you want to feel at the end of that reinvention of your physical body? Same happens with everything else. Like I happen to be an expert in helping businesses reinvent, recreate, rebirth themselves. And we always start with what's the vision? What's the end game here? So in this reinvention, and no matter what area of your life it is, like I said, personally, professionally, spiritually, relationships, your love relationships, your friendships, your evolution, your wealth, your body, whatever it is, your evolution begins with the transformation of your vision. Like, where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself at the end? That's the key. And then lastly, perspective. We have to keep this in perspective. Listen, because we reinvented ourselves from one area of our life, or in one area of our life, and we reinvented ourselves to another level, that's just a chapter in our book. It doesn't define our entire life. Let's keep it in perspective. And by the way, this doesn't mean that you have to leave behind the experiences of your life. No, in fact, the opposite is true. All the experiences that you have in your life that brought you to this crossroads, that brought you to this moment of transformation, that's the parts of the recipe that when you mix them all up, on the other side of it comes a whole new dish. So perspective, like Keep it in perspective. This is a moment. I have a really good friend who always reminds me. He says, hey, listen, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. So when I think about that, it's much more difficult to get locked into the emotion of the change, and it's easier to keep the vision of where you want to be for the change, for the transformation, for that reinvention of yourself. So those are my thoughts on reinventing yourself. I'll bet every one of you out there have reinvented yourself at some time in the past, probably the recent past. And so what I'd like for you to do is first, share this video with your friends. And listen, I am okay if you share it with your enemies too. Just share it, spread it around because the message is key. So share it and then put in the comment box. I guess the comment box is down there, or maybe it's over there, or wherever the comment box is. We'll see what the videographer, the video editor does with this once he gets it. But put in the comment box your experiences of self-reinvention. How have you reinvented yourself? How have you transformed? What pivotal moments in time created a rebirth for you? I would love to know that. Share this with your friends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.